There are 5 NFL quarterbacks that I believe might change teams this offseason. In fact, there's at least one quarterback who was a starter last year that may not necessarily even have a spot in the NFL next year. The first quarterback I want to talk about is Kirk Cousins. He started a number of games last year for the Atlanta Falcons and then got benched at the end of the season. For the final 3 games, Atlanta turned to rookie top 10 pick Michael Penix Jr. They only got a victory in one of those 3 games, but they were competitive and scored points. Week 16, they beat the Giants 34-7. Week 17, they lost to Washington 30-24 in overtime. And then week 18, they lost again in overtime, this time 44-38 to Carolina. In 2024, Kirk struggled. He did throw for 3,508 yards and 18 touchdowns, but also 16 interceptions. And he had a terrible stretch where he threw 9 interceptions in just 5 games. Between Kirk playing bad and Michael Penix Jr. doing well enough, there's reason to move on. Now, Atlanta might keep Kirk on the roster because cutting him is expensive, and I'm not sure if anybody wants to trade for him and his massive contract. Let's be clear, though, he's not cancer in the locker room, nothing like that. Atlanta just has a better, younger, and ultimately cheaper option with Michael Penix Jr. Now, since the year ended, there's been a lot of Russell Wilson drama in Pittsburgh. A lot of he said, she said, saving face rumors. There's one rumor that Russ was not allowed to change plays at the line. There's another rumor that coaches wanted to bench him but weren't allowed to. Either way, it's unlikely they're all going to want to work together again. Pittsburgh went 10-7 last year. They actually made a playoff game, but then they lost in the wild card round to Baltimore. Let's be clear, Pittsburgh ended the year ugly. They lost 5 games in a row. First Philly, Baltimore twice in that stretch. They lost to Kansas City, and they lost to the Bengals. The common theme was, hey, Russell Wilson isn't awful. He's just not giving us enough at quarterback to go win us the game. Last year, Russ did not have the worst numbers. He threw for 2,482 yards. He threw 16 touchdowns. He ran for 2. He did have 7 turnovers. He had 2 fumbles and 5 interceptions. But not the worst year I've ever seen from a quarterback in the NFL. But I'm not confident there's a spot in the NFL for Russ. He's 36 years old. What he used to do well is run around and extend plays. That's not really there anymore. And we've got a lot of ugly memories recently with Russell Wilson. Seattle, then Denver, now Pittsburgh. I doubt his old coach Pete Carroll wants him in Vegas, and I'm not even 100% sure Russ is even an NFL starter. Definitely no one is going to plan with him long-term, but he could be a bridge quarterback. Like if Tennessee drafted a quarterback, Cam Ward, number 1 overall, maybe they bring in Russ as a mentor and to start until Cam is ready. However, the only way I see Russ as a day 1 starter in 2025 is as a placeholder. Nobody's going to plan for him to be their guy long-term. I also think Sam Darnold is probably on the move. Sam just had a great year. He threw for 4,319 yards, 35 touchdown passes, 12 interceptions, and his team Minnesota went 14-3. However, Sam does not have a long-term contract. He wants a lot of money. I think he deserves a lot of money. He just had a great year. I've got no doubt somebody's going to pay him and give him what he wants. However, I will say that in a couple of the biggest moments last year for Minnesota, Sam Darnold wilted. Week 18, huge game in Detroit. It's the battle for the NFC North. The number 1 seed is on the line, and Minnesota lost 31-9. Sam Darnold, in a crucial moment, was a non-factor. In their playoff game, they got destroyed and embarrassed by the Rams 27-9. And again, Sam shrank to nothing. I don't know that you want to invest a ton of money into Sam Darnold if he's not going to show up and perform well in big moments. Oh, and by the way, the Vikings have a luxury. They've got J.J. McCarthy on their roster, a quarterback who was last year's number 10 overall pick. He did get hurt, but J.J. McCarthy has a really, really cheap rookie contract. Minnesota has a great roster. They've got an awesome coach, a coach who was able to win games with both Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold. Let's be honest, Minnesota is a great spot for any quarterback to play. Overpaying Sam Darnold would seem to be an unforced error. I think Minnesota could win with J.J. McCarthy and pay him way, way less. Sam Darnold is likely to leave in free agency, and the Vikings are likely to let him go. I think Pittsburgh is his top landing spot, where Sam could win big and get a ton of money, which ironically actually reminds me of today's sponsor, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your money. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks because Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Download the app today and use code CLNS for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. I don't know, guys. I think that was a pretty good little sponsor integration. But let's move on. I also think Matthew Stafford could be on the move this offseason. He's been the Rams quarterback for the last 4 years. He won them a Super Bowl. But now he's 37. And the Rams are in the middle of a transition. Trading Cooper Kupp, finding their way with the salary cap. And there have been some disputes between Stafford and the Rams. They had to rework his deal going into last year. And if they keep him, they'd have to do it again this summer. Teams are trying to make a trade. The question is, will the Rams entertain the idea? I mean, it's hard to imagine because they had a good year last year. The Rams won their division. They went 10-7. They won a playoff game. They embarrassed Minnesota. Matthew Stafford threw for 3,762 yards, 20 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Now, Sam Darnold had a much better year statistically last year, and I'm not confident Minnesota's going to keep him either. So anything could happen. It's been reported that Pittsburgh and the Giants have called the Rams asking about a Matthew Stafford trade. The question is whether or not that's a serious conversation for the Rams. Apparently, the Jets are totally done with their former quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, so if he wants to play next year, he's going to need a new team. The Jets went 5-12 last year. Now they have hired a new head coach, Aaron Glenn. And after meeting with Aaron, the decision was made to move on. Now, Aaron Rodgers had solid numbers last year. He threw for 3,897 yards, 28 touchdowns, only 11 interceptions. And he has said he wants to go to a good team that wants him. I'm just not sure that team exists. However, I will admit the 49ers are a really cool place. I'd like to see him play. But I think that's a pipe dream because I don't think they're going to move on from their quarterback, Brock Purdy. The Raiders are also kind of an interesting fit for Aaron Rodgers because they're restarting their entire franchise. They hired Pete Carroll as head coach, Chip Kelly as offensive coordinator. Raiders, I find interesting. I do not think Tennessee is a good fit for Aaron. They've got the number 1 pick. I think they're going to draft a quarterback with that pick. And I don't believe Aaron wants to be the mentor, bridge quarterback for some young rookie. He wants to be the man. And he said he wants to go to a good team that wants him. Certainly, Tennessee is not a good team. So I don't think it's a fit that makes sense, but I've heard Aaron Rodgers' name connected to Tennessee before. All in all, there are 5 NFL teams that are looking for a quarterback. Tennessee, the Giants, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Raiders, and the Jets. If they're not, they definitely should be looking for a quarterback. Let's acknowledge the Rams would need a quarterback if they do end up getting rid of Matthew Stafford. I think the Browns also need a quarterback. Unfortunately, they're just in denial about their situation they've got going with Deshaun Watson. But here's one possible set of outcomes I find fun for next year. Imagine a scenario where, let's say, Tennessee acquires Russell Wilson. He's a mentor for young guy Cameron Ward. The Jets trade for Kirk Cousins. Matthew Stafford goes to the Giants. Sam Darnold gets a huge contract in Pittsburgh. And maybe Aaron Rodgers becomes the man, the starting quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders. That's one set of outcomes I find interesting. I'm curious, though, where do you think these guys are going to go? Like, for me, the fun, exciting one that feels like a pipe dream, I want to see Aaron Rodgers in a 49ers uniform running Kyle Shanahan's offense. Like, that sounds incredible. I just think it's too good to be true. I don't think it's going to happen. Or, like, if I'm the Rams, do you trade away Matthew Stafford, but then go get Sam Darnold, give him a long-term contract. Like, there are so many fun possibilities. It's my favorite time of year where everyone's sitting around going, could this happen? Could this happen? That'd be cool. That'd be fun. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think could happen? Because it's going to be an unbelievable, really, really fun NFL offseason.